Okay, picture this. You're scrolling through your phone, right? Maybe on your break or first thing in the morning. Headlines just flying by, videos popping up, stuff your friends are sharing, and you just get this feeling, this blur, and you stop and think, wait, what's actually real here? It's like trying to see through thick fog sometimes. And the weird part is our own minds are mixed up in it too, shaping what we even perceive. Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're really jumping into it. Perception, misinformation, and reality in the digital age. Our goal: to unpack how our own viewpoint shapes what we think is real, why it feels so darn hard to figure out the truth these days, and maybe most importantly, how you can sharpen your own thinking to navigate it all. We've pulled together a whole bunch of articles, some fascinating research, really interesting insights for this discussion. And understanding this stuff, well, it's kind of a shortcut to being genuinely informed, not just feeling informed. And honestly, some of this might really surprise you. This is exactly the kind of valuable insight you can find regularly.
For more great information like this, make sure you visit Mind Expansion Daily. So let's kick off with, well, the huge question: what is reality anyway? We tend to think of it as like this solid thing out there. But isn't it really the world we sense, and then our brains filter it, interpret it, sometimes completely reshape it based on everything we've experienced?
That's exactly the puzzle, isn't it? And what's truly fascinating is just how subjective that reality turns out to be. I mean, no two people really experience the world in the exact same way. There was this 2018 study, I think it was, in Nature Human Behavior, that actually showed how tiny differences in our brain structures affect how we process sensory info. It leads to that kind of famous idea: my red might not be your red. But it goes way beyond color, right? This personal filter affects our beliefs, how we understand events, what we ultimately accept as true. It's all shaded by our own life and our cultural background.
Okay, so if our own realities are already kind of unique and fluid,
Yeah.
then what happens when you throw in the sheer amount of information hitting us constantly? It really does feel like drowning sometimes.
Oh, swamped is putting it mildly. There was an estimate, I think, from UC San Diego around 2021, suggesting the average person sees something like 10,000 media messages a day. 10,000 daily. And in that flood, misinformation isn't just lurking, it's actually optimized to spread. You mentioned X earlier, that 2018 MIT study. It found false stuff spreads 6 times faster than truth on platforms like that. Why? Well, often because it's designed to hit our emotions, or it just feels novel, It creates this perfect storm online where opinions, half-truths, even total fabrications can look just like facts. Makes it incredibly hard to tell what's what.
That speed is terrifying. And it makes you think about the role of the media, both old and new. How much are they shaping our perception in this environment?
Oh, massively. It's pivotal. Think about traditional news. Many outlets are now driven by clicks, right? So sensationalism often gets prioritized over, say, deep, nuanced reporting. It's not just about style. It can really amplify division, make complex things seem really simple, black and white. And then, well, social media just throws fuel on that fire. The algorithms, they're literally built to show you more of what you already seem to like or believe. So they build these invisible walls around you, these echo chambers. Pew Research found back in 2020 that something like 62% of Americans get news from social media. That's huge. It means a lot of people are seeing a reality that's been, heavily curated, like a highlight reel, not the whole messy picture.
So it's not just about what they show us, but maybe how they show it. Are these platforms actually, maybe subtly, designed to manipulate how we see things?
That's a really important point. I mean, look at social media influencers. They often present these super polished, idealized lives, right? It seems harmless, maybe, but that constant stream can subtly make people feel, well, inadequate. Comparison kicks in. There's a study in The Lancet in 2019 linking heavy social media use to more anxiety, lower self-esteem, especially in younger people. And it's not just influencers, advertisers. They're experts at this. They use psychological tricks all the time. Things like scarcity, limited time offer, or social proof. Everyone loves this product. Nudging your choices without you even really noticing. They play on our built-in mental shortcuts.
Ah, yeah, cognitive biases. Those shortcuts our brains take that are useful sometimes, but can really, really trip us up when we're trying to figure out what's true online.
Exactly. And we often talk about confirmation bias, looking for stuff that confirms what we already think. But online, it's worse. It's not just us looking. The algorithms actively feed it to us. It creates this false sense of, oh, everyone thinks this way. It's a feedback loop. And then there's the availability heuristic. That's when we overestimate how likely something is just because it's vivid or easy to remember, like those viral hoaxes that spread like wildfire, or maybe thinking shark attacks are super common because they get so much attention. Just knowing these biases exist, that they're part of how our brains work, is the first step. It helps you question the stories you're being told and maybe question your own reactions too. It's less about not having them, more about being aware.
Okay, so we have our internal filters, the information overload, the media influence, these biases. But you mentioned something earlier I find really fascinating. Language itself. How can the words we use, the very structure of our language, actually shape how we perceive reality? That seems so fundamental.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it? Linguists like Benjamin Lee Whorf explored this idea, linguistic relativity. Basically, the language you speak can influence how you think. For example, some languages, like Russian, have very specific words for different shades of blue. Studies suggest speakers of those languages might actually perceive differences between those shades more distinctly than, say, English speakers. They literally see the world a bit differently. Or think about gendered nouns, like in German. A 2017 study in psychological science found German speakers might associate objects with masculine or feminine traits based on the noun's gender. It's subtle, but it shapes how they categorize and relate to the world around them. It's not just grammar, it's worldview.
Wow, so the building blocks of thought are influenced by language structure. And I guess that connects directly to culture too, right?
Absolutely, it scales up. Culture provides this larger framework for perception. Think about collectivist societies, common in East Asia, where reality is often seen through the lens of the group, community, harmony. Contrast that with more individualistic cultures like the US, where personal achievement and autonomy are really emphasized. These aren't just abstract differences, they affect how people interpret events. A protest, for instance, might be seen mainly as a collective action in one culture, but more as individual expression or rebellion in another. And then you layer on our own personal histories, upbringing, major life events, even traumas, and you get this incredibly complex, unique lens for every single person.
It really does start to sound philosophical, like
Yeah.
how much of what we call real is actually constructed by us.
Well, philosophers have definitely wrestled with that. Ideas like constructivism suggest reality isn't just out there waiting to be discovered, but something we actively build through our perceptions, our language, our culture. We're not just interpreting reality, we're kind of co-creating it. Even in, quantum mechanics, there's that weird idea that observing something can change its outcome. It's a mind-bending parallel, really. It reminds us that our interpretations, individually and collectively, are incredibly powerful in shaping the world we experience, especially online.
And when those interpretations get distorted, when misinformation takes hold, the consequences aren't just theoretical, they're very real and sometimes very serious.
They absolutely are. The stakes can be incredibly high. We've seen misinformation sway elections, fuel deep social divisions, and tragically even put lives at risk. Think about the COVID-19 pandemic. False claims about vaccines spread like wildfire online, leading to vaccine hesitancy. The World Health Organization estimated in 2021 that this kind of misinformation likely cost thousands of lives because it hampered public health efforts. And beyond huge crises, on a personal level, these distorted perceptions breed distrust, increase anxiety, and just make it harder for us to connect with each other, to find common ground.
And social media acts like this giant megaphone, amplifying everything, the good, the bad, and the completely false.
Exactly. Platforms like X, Facebook, TikTok, they give a platform to everyone, from credentialed experts to, well, anyone with a keyboard. It makes sorting fact from fiction incredibly difficult for the average person just scrolling through. There was a study from Oxford in 2022 that found something like 70% of social media users had come across false information. And often, the kicker is, it's shared by people they know and trust, friends, family, which makes it even harder to question. This all just hammers home how crucial media literacy is now. It's not just a nice-to-have skill, it's essential for navigating the modern world. Like learning to read was centuries ago.
Okay, so we've mapped out the challenge, the subjectivity, the information flood, the manipulation, the consequences. The big question now is, what do we do about it? How do we as individuals navigate this maze? I think you said it earlier, critical thinking.
Absolutely. It's about being deliberate, maybe even a little skeptical, but in a constructive way. Not cynical, just discerning. And there are definitely practical things you can do. First off, verify your sources. Seriously, don't just react to a headline. Ask, who is saying this? Is it a known news outlet with editors or some random blog? Try to cross-reference big claims. Use fact-checking sites like Snopes or PolitiFact. If something feels way off, it probably is. Take that extra second.
Right, check the source. What else?
Second, question the motives. Why is this piece of information being shared right now? Is the goal to inform you? Or is it maybe to persuade you, to scare you, to make you angry? Remember, advertisers, political campaigns, propagandists, they want an emotional reaction. They're good at getting one. Think about why they might want you to feel that way.
Okay, check sources, question motives.
Third, actively seek out diverse perspectives. This is huge. We all live in echo chambers to some extent. Make an effort to break out. Follow people or outlets on social media that challenge your views. Read different sources. If possible, look at primary documents or raw data, not just someone else's take on it. Try to understand why someone holds an opposing view.
That's a hard one, but yeah, really important.
Fourth, understand your own biases. We talked about confirmation bias and availability heuristic. Try to be aware of them in yourself. There are tools online like bias checklists. The Center for Media Literacy has one. Ask yourself honestly, am I drawn to this because it fits what I already believe? Am I dismissing something just because it doesn't?
Self-awareness, okay. And the last one.
And finally, maybe the simplest but hardest. Slow down. Misinformation loves impulse. That quick share, that instant outrage. Just pause. Before you hit share, before you fully accept something shocking, take a breath. There was that study in Nature Communications, just taking 10 seconds to think about whether a headline is accurate can significantly reduce the spread of false news. 10 seconds, it makes a difference.
Verify, question motives, seek diversity, know your bias, and slow down. Those are really concrete steps anyone can take. What about bigger picture? Systemic solutions.
Yeah, that's crucial too. Education is key. We need to prioritize media literacy in schools, starting young. Teaching kids critical thinking skills, how to evaluate sources, how to spot manipulation, that's fundamental now. That Stanford study from 2020 showed it works. Students trained in media literacy were 50% better at spotting fake news. 50%. It's building resilience for the future, not just for individuals, but for society as a whole.
Yeah, okay, that was definitely a deep dive. It's so clear that telling reality from perception isn't simple anymore, is it? Our own minds filter everything, shaped by our biology, culture, experiences, and then digital platforms just amplify all the potential distortions.
Yeah, it's complex, but the takeaway shouldn't be despair, I think. It's empowerment. By really working on our critical thinking, by questioning the stories we're told, by intentionally looking for different views, we can see things more clearly. It's like building a muscle. You have to keep working at it.
And asking what's real isn't just some abstract philosophical game anymore. It's practical. It affects the decisions we make every single day, what we buy, who we trust, what we believe about the world. By challenging our own assumptions, by digging a little deeper instead of just reacting, we can definitely get closer to the truth, navigate things with a bit more confidence. So, what's your take on all this? Have you ever been caught out by misinformation online? Or maybe you have your own great tips for figuring out what's real. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments. Let's keep this conversation going. And if you found this deep dive helpful, please do like and subscribe to Mind Expansion Daily. It helps us keep bringing you explorations like this. Let us know in the comments if you agree with our summary of the topic today. Thanks for joining us.